Hello, and welcome to this week's training. So, this week, I hope everyone can see me okay. This week's training is all about crafting your business foundations. And when I talk about business foundations, I'm talking about the base of your business, where your business is going to stand on, and how you're going to grow your business over time. Now, I don't like to get too deep into this because at this point, some of you are making products because you're passionate about them. You're making products because you wanted something to do. It's a hobby that's currently making you a little bit of money. You're really loving what you're doing. You're selling on the side. It's a side hustle, as everyone likes to say now. But it's not at the minute a drive to make a business. So I don't like to scare anyone with the bits that go on behind the scenes and the bits about business that are fundamental to making sure that your growth is there and that your business can build and grow over the next few years. But I did want to touch on it today because there are some of you in this group that are not just here to learn how to sell. You're not just here to learn how to market, but you're here to learn how to build a viable business. So I wanted to go over the basics of crafting the business foundations and learning what foundations you need to put in place in order to make a sustainable business that's going to grow with you over time, that's going to provide your products out to people all around the world, that eventually, you've got to look at world domination. And I know at this point there are some of you that is like, oh, it's just a hobby for me. It's not something that I really want to go for. I'm not pursuing this. It's just something that I want to learn how to make a little bit more money out of. That's amazing. And I'm still here to give you as much advice as you possibly need. But if there's a tiny part of you, if there's that little part of you that thinks, could this work for me? Could I make a business out of this? Could I possibly build the life that I want, not the life that I need to have? Then listen along. I'm going to go through over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to go through different things that are important when it comes to actually setting up your business and setting up those foundations and how it needs to run from the start. A little bit of the growth and how it will benefit you to look at growth right at the beginning of your journey, and then a little bit about world domination, but we'll get onto that. So today it's really about looking at what needs to be put in place to actually start the foundations and have a solid foundation for you to work on afterwards. Now, I always say building a business is a little bit like building a house. So if you just build the house on soil, at some point, if there's a flood, if there's, over time with erosion, everything else, that house is going to slip, and that house is going to tip, and there's going to be cracks, and there's going to be problems, and things that are irreparable over time, things that you look at and you go, there's no way I can fix this. There's no way I can redo these cracks. I can't pull the wall back up out the ground. Setting those business foundations means you've got a solid base for your business to grow on. So now it doesn't matter how many floors you build, how many rooms you build, you've got a solid foundation underneath your house to make sure that that is sturdy and that you and your family can live in that house forever. And when you look at business and look at starting your business, thinking about your business in the same terms means that you can build a business where the growth is sustainable, where the business is solid, and that you and your family will be able to thrive off a solid business foundation. Now, there are a couple of things that you need to look at right from the beginning. And, you may have started by just making crafts and selling those crafts at fairs and markets. And it's like, oh, this is quite interesting. And you get some fairs and markets where you sell loads. And then you get some fairs and markets where you hardly sell at all. And this all comes down to the fact that one of the key foundations in the business is finding your niche. So Who is your business marketing to? Who is your product marketing to? Who is your key sort of customer persona? What is the one type of person that is definitely going to buy your product every single time? What kind of people are you aiming for, and where do you find them? Because if you're going, I'll use myself as an example. When I was doing my candle business, it was a luxury candle business. I got no sales at PTA fairs, none. I might get one bag of wax melt sold, maybe two, but they're from people that literally looked at me and was like, "Oh well, I can't, like, really. I'll just take the cheapest product because I want to support you." Which is lovely, and it was fantastic that they wanted to support me, and it felt great that I had people that wanted to support me. But I wasn't there for support. I was there for sales. I paid out £10, £20 for this table. I want to make sales. So when I actually honed in on my niche, honed in on what type of person was going to buy from me, what their annual income is, what kind of, how many children they have, what kind of car they drive. When I started honing in on that persona and my niche and the people that were going to buy from me, that opened up so many doors, because then I could look at craft fairs and look at artisan markets and go, okay, are you going to give me my niche customer? Are you going to be the place where I'm going to find my perfect customer persona? And once I had that, and once I discovered that, and once I started going to the right fairs, I was selling out within 2, 3, 4 hours. So I was then like, right, okay, now these are the places that I need to be. I remember one fair, it was a 2-day fair. I sold out absolutely everything a couple of hours before the end of the first day, and had to come home. I spent all night making to then go back the next day to sell out again. So once you actually get your niche and you know exactly who you're marketing to, who your product's going to go in for, you know where to place yourself in the marketplace. So it's really important that you spend a little bit of time sitting down and going, okay, what is this product? What am I fixing? What problem am I solving for people with my product? And what kind of people have that problem that need it solved? Once you've got that, that is a fantastic way of getting out into the right places and making sure that you sell out every single time. The next thing you need to look at is, what is your 5-year plan for the business? Like, yeah, okay, right now you're just making and selling. I get that. I understand it. But daydream. Just take a moment. Take a moment to just daydream. If money was no object, if you had all the time in the world, if you had everything like you ever needed and that was all covered, and you had the time and the energy to just pursue this craft and this business, what would it look like to you? What would your day look like? Are you getting up in the morning, going to the warehouse, making your products, going off to the shop in the afternoon, talking to the salespeople about how it's selling? Is this how you envision your day? And if this is how you envision your day, what does that mean for the setup of your business? Have you looked at separating your bank accounts so it's not in your bank account, so it's in a separate bank account, so that if you get the opportunity to look for funding for a premises, you can actually sit down and go through your accounts with the bank and say, look at my trends, look at what the business is bringing in, look at how we're selling, so that they know that you are a good investment product. So that they can go, okay, yeah, absolutely, we're going to give you this £10,000 to go and set up your warehouse. We're going to give you this £5,000 to go and set up your shop. Are you thinking forward? Now, there is the argument behind, do you want to be a limited business? Do you want to be a sole trader? And there is pros and cons with all of that, which, it comes up in one of my courses. So there's actually a really in-depth guide into how to go through all of that. But just as a small, just on this training session, have a look into the differences between limited businesses and sole traders, and know that it's not restricted. If at this moment becoming a limited business seems like the scariest thing in the world to you, that's absolutely fine. be a sole trader. It makes sense to sit with something that you're comfortable with, but have you prepared for the possibility that one day you will become a limited business? Have you got a separate bank account altogether that you manage your business through, your sales, your income, what your supplies are, and everything in a separate bank account, so you can see the viability of your business as it goes? Because that viability is so important to the growth of the business later on. So if you're thinking, oh no, I'm quite happy, I'm just making a few things, I'm getting a bit of pin money, it's absolutely fine, I'm just going to have it into my own bank account. That's cool. That's absolutely perfect. I can still help you sell more. I can still help you in marketing and how to navigate social media. That's absolutely fine. But if you're thinking, do you know what? One day it'd be really nice to have a shop. One day it'd be fantastic to be able to ship worldwide. One day it'd be amazing to do an exhibition somewhere and talk to other people about how they've built their handmade business. Separate your bank accounts. Just get a small bank account, even if it's an online bank. I have an online bank and a bricks and mortar bank. And just get a separate bank account that everything goes into, with a card that you can use to spend on all of your expenses, any supplies that you need, anything that you're using to run your business as well. If you are doing, if you've got an online scheduler for your social media, or if you've got an online manufacturing system, then you're paying that subscription. Get it so that it's all separate. It makes it so much easier when it comes to tax time as well, because you've got incomes and outgoings just there, nice and easy on your statement. So you know exactly what's going in and out of your bank account. But at the same time, you've got immediate access to it. So, because I appreciate a lot of the funds so far has come out of your own pocket. So the business currently owes you some money, but it's not making enough money to give you that money back. So yeah, it feels like if it's just in your bank account, it's just backwards and forwards. But if you're looking at the possibility of growth, if you're looking at the possibility of that blue sky, of that one thing that you want to do, that one thing that you're aiming for, start preparing for it today by being responsible with your finances and separating them out, so you know exactly what comes in and out of your business, and so that you have a money trail later on for when you've got an opportunity for growth. You've got literally statements you can go to the bank to and go, here you go, have a look at this. Or you can go to the estate agent to and say, this is my incomes and outgoings, this is what's going on, this is the finances for my account, have a check of this. And they don't have to navigate through, Netflix subscriptions and the fact that we've ordered from, Just Eat 3 times this week. They can look at it just on a business aspect and go, okay, yeah, that looks like a viable business that I can invest into. Whether that be a sole trader or a limited business, at this point, it doesn't matter. What matters is preparing your business for the possibility of growth later on. Now, with that, are you literally logging everything down? Have you got a spreadsheet? It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be anything special, but have you got a spreadsheet where everything you spend on your business is logged on there? Every single penny that comes into the business, even if it's just, I was at a craft fair and I found 10p on the floor, everything that is coming in, everything that's going out is logged, so that you've got a money trail, not just for taxes, but also so you can see when it's time to grow, when it's time to look at other services, when it's time in your business to look at like investment into your business. Being able to have that on a spreadsheet will make the difference when it comes to making decisions later on. And these are just things that you need in order to prepare for the possibility of growth. It's those business foundations, it's those basics that you have to look at in order to make sure that you are going down the right path. And it's something that you should be getting comfortable with. It's not always comfortable at the start, but it's something that you should be getting comfortable with as you go along. Because once you have these business foundations in place and, popping into your diary, okay, once every 2 weeks, I'm going to have a finance day with myself where I go through how much I'm spending on marketing, how much I'm spending on products, see where I need to streamline, see what's been working for me, what's not, and going and being really on top of your finances, so you know exactly where you are. When you start taking people into your business and you start, say, with a bookkeeper or an accountant, knowing that, okay, every 2 weeks I have this meeting with myself. Now I'm going to include you into that meeting so that we together can discuss what's coming in, what's going out, and how we can grow. And getting comfortable with those conversations actually shifts your mindset to start accepting the fact that you're a business owner. You are the CEO of your own life, you're the CEO of your own craft, and you are developing a profitable business. So it's not just about having these foundations in place for legal reasons. It's not just about having these foundations in place because at some point HMRC are going to say, hey, how much money are you making? It's about having these foundations in place so that you can go, okay, this is the mindset shift. This is where I start believing in myself. I start believing in my craft. I start understanding that my dreams are within reach. I can achieve them. I can do them. I just need to get organized with it. Okay. The last one I want to talk to you about is legals. Now, one of the things, I'm going to touch on this a little bit before I have a rant, but one of the things that used to absolutely drive me mad was there were so many people that I was competing with at craft fairs weren't legal. They didn't have the right insurances. They didn't have the right, legislations. They didn't have the right policies. They weren't compliant with the laws that are out there for the thing that they're selling. And that used to drive me absolutely insane because, people that had come to the craft fairs were buying their stuff and their stuff would be cheaper than my stuff. Absolutely. Because they weren't spending 6 hours a week trying to navigate the policies and the laws and the legislations. So yeah, they had the freedom to be cheaper because they weren't putting the right stickers or the right labels on their product, or they didn't have to pay for insurance. And it used to drive me absolutely insane. But the following time I went to that same fair or that same market, they weren't there. And that used to fill me up with so much more confidence because it was a bit like, okay, so yes, you've not complied with all the laws, all the legislations, and I've been compliant and working my butt off trying to figure out what's up, what's down when I'm reading these policies. But you also didn't last because of it. Because I spent that time making sure that I was compliant, because I made sure that I was legal, because I had the right insurances, because if someone came to me and said, oh, your product didn't do this or your product didn't do that, I had the right processes in place to make sure that I could return that product to me. I could replace that product for them. I could investigate that product correctly. I could make sure, see why it was. I could do batch recalls, and I had one batch recall that I had to do because the one I tested was great. The one I sold wasn't. So I recalled the entire batch and sent out new candles to everyone. And I had the ability to do that because I'd spent the time making sure that I had all my insurances, all of my policies, all of my systems and everything in place. And it is soul destroying sometimes when you are sat there reading through another policy and you have no idea what it means in the grand scheme of things and you wish someone would just translate it for you. And I get that. But if you are genuinely looking at the possibility of building an artisan business, you are looking at having a retail business, whether that be in person in a bricks and mortar store or online as an online store, however you're looking at building your business, please make sure that you are looking at the foundations of the legislations and the laws that you need to adhere to, because that will be the difference into whether you are there for 5 minutes or 50 years. And that will be the difference as to whether you are providing a really good product, a fantastic product that you've put time and energy into, that can go out to someone's home that in their home is perfectly safe, and something that's going to get you sued. So when you look at your business and you look at the possibility of the future of your business, please take into consideration where you want to be, who you want to be selling to, how you want to structure that business, making sure you're keeping on top of your finances and that you are compliant with the right legislations and legals for your industry. Okay. These foundations, understanding these foundations and having these foundations in place is the difference between you having a hobby that pays well and a business that will provide for your family for years to come. Okay. If you have any questions or any queries around this, or even if you just want to discuss what I mean by certain points of this video, please drop a comment below. I will answer every single comment and we can go through what that means to you based in your niche, in your business. So don't be afraid of it, but it might be a time to think on it. Sit back, have a think. What do you want for your business? When do you want that to happen? And how do you want your business to bloom with you over the next 5 years? Okay, guys, I will see you next week. Have a fantastic time. Take care. Bye.